obubaka bwempa bakyala bannanga abo batagala kola tewakyali mukazi kwetuulako bakyala bannanga obwo obuzibu bwennyini bw'okulindirira akaveera.
Street Live in association with
Rehab WhatsApp. Feel it within.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here.
What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week?
I say there shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell.
At what price?
More. Much, much more.
I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. From you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
NTV, turning on your world.
Good afternoon, welcome to NTV at One. Once again, my name is Malcolm Sime. Let's have a look at the headlines before we start. A sure deal as the Ministry of Finance commits to clearing all civil servant salaries arrears by September. And tightening the noose, a tough legislation on narcotic drugs in the offing. Also coming up, no survivors cited as the wreckage of Air Algeria is found under Malian village. Welcome to NTV at One, and an update from the Rwenzori region. The Rwenzori region could see a reduction in the number of tourists to the Rwenzori in that area, and this after the Bunbuji Kasese attacks on July 5th, in which up to 90 people were killed in what the government says were tribal clashes. The Rwenzori region is famous for sites such as the Rwenzori Mountains and Golira trekking. The Minister of Internal Affairs, Aronda Nyakarima, insists that the area is safe for tourists.
A few isolated acts of violence, particularly in western Uganda, in the around Rwenzori region, have been contained.
Well, there have been some cancellations by some tourists, some. It's too early to quantify it.
We wish to assure our visitors that their stay in the part of Africa is secured and out of any harm's way.
By the end of September this year, all government civil servants will have been paid their salary arrears. The Secretary to the Treasury, Keith Mhakanizi, made the commitment before lawmakers, permanent secretaries and accounting officers of key government departments at Parliament.
But we have committed ourselves to release funds on a timely basis and eliminate salary arrears by end of September, or after we have done all the auditing and you confirming that these areas are there by September, salary areas. In life, you must have a plan. I have said, all accounting officers verify your areas, bring them. If I don't pay them by September, then I'm denied. Of course, if you don't bring them by September, that's a different matter. That's the target.
You will not pay teachers and areas by September. You said it in June, it failed. We met with the public service, education and you, it failed. Now you're extending to September. You promised to send forms for teachers to fill in all districts, and they have not reached there up to now demanding areas. And I'm going to give you copies of teachers with their forms and everything who are demanding now for 7 years.
Please, if you want us to keep on this plan of budgeting, kindly stop asking for supplementary expenditure. For the first time in the history of State House, at least when I've been around, last year we disciplined State House, or to discipline itself, one of those, I think they disciplined themselves, there was no supplement to State House.
Good news, the teachers there. Parliament of Uganda will soon pass tough laws against those growing and dealing in narcotic drugs. The revelation from the police's anti-narcotic department came as they embarked on a countrywide sensitization campaign against growing, dealing and consumption of the drugs.
The police on several occasions, acting on a tip-off, have raided marijuana gardens and arrested those suspected of being behind the illicit trade. But their efforts have often been frustrated by weak laws that are not punitive enough to discourage either the consumption or trade in drugs. The police anti-narcotic department now warns that tough laws on narcotic drugs are in the offing and could help turn the tide.
The law may not be exactly like the one which is being applied in China, because in China the maximum punishment for a drug abuser, a trafficker, it is death. Then minimum is life imprisonment. But with us in Uganda, we are saying at least if someone is found guilty of trafficking or drug abuse, at least it would be life imprisonment. Minimally, it could be like 15 years and above.
The bill has been lying in the House since 2007. Some of the clauses force the offenders to forfeit all their possessions believed to have been acquired through dealing in drugs. The offenders will also spend over 15 years in jail and pay fines triple to the quantity of drugs found in their possession.
With this new bill which is in Parliament, in case it will be enacted as a law, it will toughen the sentence.
The traffickers, they use these people who are desperate, who do not have money or who do not have the employment.
A team of officials in the anti-narcotics department is now sensitizing people in different parts of the country against the usage and dealing in drugs. They were in Busia, warning especially the youth against being lured into drugs.
The Uganda Manufacturers Association says a Marshall Plan now needs to be prepared to enable current and future local manufacturers actively take part alongside the government in public-private partnership ventures. Mohammed Sebagala, the executive director of the association, says that such an initiative would cushion domestic manufacturers, many of them challenged by difficult business environment in credit, counterfeits and technologies. Last week, Parliament passed the Public-Private Partnership Bill that will now see critical business joint ventures between government and the private sector.
People in the manufacturing sector, industrial sector, have always wanted to have not only participation but full participation whenever anything that will lead or leads to the development of our country is concerned. We have to participate. Why? We are part of the players in as far as development is concerned. We in the sector, I think, on top of government institutions, it will definitely not materialize. Don't forget the fact that on top of government, we employ the biggest numbers as individuals, individual companies, factories, etc. So what we do is not for our own good, it's for the good of the community and the country at large. We pay lots of taxes. We pay big taxes, big volumes of taxes.
Hundreds of mourners this morning converged at All Saints Cathedral for the funeral service of late Keron Raphael Kabugo, the son to musician Juliana Kanyomozi. The 11-year-old died on Sunday of an asthma attack from the Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi. The mourners eulogized Keron as an intelligent, smart and loving boy. He will be buried this afternoon in Matuga.
To an end, they are new every morning, for great is his faithfulness.
If you have a rest, please come through the corridor.
Keron remained a strong, brave, cheerful boy.
He brought us such joy. He made us so happy. Just going home and looking at Keron and his smile, I was always strengthened by him. He was a very strong boy, by the way. He had a way of reading me.
May so rest in peace and our hearts go out to you, Juliana and family. We're now going to take a short break, and Ntv at One comes back with more stories this afternoon.
And Sprite now at only 800 shillings.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
La Patrona.
I am your judge and executioner.
You're here. He'll arrest me, and I won't allow that. I can't. I'm faithful to you, my forbidden fruit, my sweetie. I love you. Good night. Kisses. I love you. You finished? Oh my God. I thought I was gonna lapse into a diabetic coma from all the sweet sappiness. I've never heard such a ridiculous conversation. If I were you, I wouldn't go in there, Antonia.
La Patrona.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Welcome back. This is Ntv at One. Now, the State Minister for Finance, Matia Kasaija, yesterday failed to explain why his ministry had delayed sending the school capitation grant to government-aided schools. The MPs put the minister to task to explain why he decided to send the money at the time when all the schools are planning to close for the second-term holidays. The minister's explanation that there was no money fell on deaf ears as MPs demanded that he apologizes. The matter was referred to the Committee on Education.
For the month of May and June, there was need for money because the allocation for that year had been exhausted. And I think the mistake that we did, we should have informed the schools that that money was meant to last them even for the 2 months before we go into the new financial year. Unfortunately, that was not done. So we have got a shortfall of that amount of money. Now, because we had not, Parliament had not yet passed the vote on account. You know, it's passed this vote account barely 2 weeks ago. We did not have the funds. We could not start distributing money until unless Parliament has appropriated.
We appropriate money every year. We give you money to distribute 4 times because they are giving it quarterly, which is 4 times a year. And now you have decided that you are going to distribute this money 3 times. That means 3 times every term. And then you come up with a report and you say that money was not enough. We fail to understand. That was a very simple arithmetic question which the minister should have told us, but because of their lies, they have failed to satisfy us with their report.
Another strange one now. A resident of Buyori village in Dandira parish has been caned to death by macho men hired by a family member to teach him a lesson. Patrick Ndonge's family are suspected to have tried to cover up his death by washing his body and leaving it in an abandoned house.
Joshua Ndonge, a brother to the deceased, allegedly hired macho men from Busia town where he operates a bar, got them intoxicated before tasking them with the job. Residents say Joshua then led the men to his brother's home, tied him up, stripped him naked, and beat him as family members watched.
Yawasize ndabirwa muze nyumba ya mama we. Kale mama we na akubira muganda we simu Busia nti jogo yayonenye nyumba.
The mother of the deceased, who kept away at her house, denied that her son had beaten his brother to death. Rose Nalubega, a detective superintendent of police from Chibuli in Kampala, who has pitch camped in Busia district to sensitize the residents on domestic violence and sexual-related offences, confirmed Patrick Ndonge's death.
All the same, that is the influence of drugs. When someone is under the influence of drugs, he can rape, he can defile, he can kill, he can commit all kinds of crime.
The police recovered the body of the deceased and have taken it to Busia Health Center for mortuary.
Now on to an update on a plane crash in Nigeria. The wreckage of a missing Air Algeria plane has been found about 50 kilometers from the border of Burkina Faso near the Malian village of Baulikesi. The plane went missing after it was diverted during bad weather. And this and other stories coming up in our international news wrap.
French officials dispatched a military unit today to secure the site. A message posted on the website of President Francois Hollande said the wreckage had been clearly identified despite the disintegration of the aircraft. The plane, designated AH-5017 and carrying 116 people, disappeared from radar yesterday over northern Mali while on a flight from Burkina Faso to Algeria. It was carrying mainly French and Burkina Faso citizens. 2 French fighter jets were among the aircraft searching the north of Mali for the wreckage. France has hundreds of troops stationed in Mali that defeated an Al-Qaeda-linked rebellion last year. The flight, scheduled by Air Algeria and operated by Spanish private company Swift Air, was flying in heavy rain, according to reports. A senior French official said it seems unlikely that fighters in Mali had the kind of weaponry that could shoot down a plane. In other news, the largest protest in years erupted in the occupied West Bank over Israel's offensive in Gaza Strip as the Israeli military continued to batter the besieged enclave with airstrikes, and the death toll topped 800 and scores others injured on Thursday in clashes with Israeli police just north of Jerusalem. More protests were reported in Nablus and Bethlehem.
Also an update on the Malaysian plane that crashed in eastern Ukraine. Now, Netherlands and Australia are also seeking access to the rebel-controlled crash site as investigations also go on. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of sports. Luis Suarez could make his Barcelona debut against rivals Real Madrid with the first El Clasico of the season set for the weekend on Sunday, 26th October. And former Chelsea midfielder Frank Lampard has joined Major League Soccer side New York City FC on a 2-year deal.
Suarez signed from Liverpool for £75 million this summer and is serving a 4-month ban for biting Italy defender Giorgio Chiellini during the World Cup, but his debut might be set for the second El Clasico of the season, which is set for 22nd of March 2015. He was banned on 26th June, but the incident took place on 24th June, meaning he should be available at the Bernabeu. Suarez was banned from all football-related activities by FIFA and cannot train with his new club and is prohibited from entering the confines of any stadium. Meanwhile, Lampard was released by the Blues at the end of last season after his contract expired to end his 13-year association with the London side. He moved from West Ham to Chelsea in June 2001 in an £11 million transfer and became the club's record goal scorer with 211 goals in his 649 appearances. Newly formed New York City FC will play in their